Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to the live stream here on the channel. Hopefully everybody is having a great day so far. It's currently, let's see, I don't even know what day it is. Wednesday, January 29th. I was seconds late thanks to Ben over here. I got busy talking to Ben about why I think we actually could see a strong tornado threat tomorrow. So for me not being exactly on time, you can blame Ben. We'll put it on him. Let's see who's in the stream, though. We've got Ben, Phoenix, Lily, Cole, Maury, Caleb. That's if Caleb didn't fall asleep again. Let's see. Pez, Weather Tracker. Glad to see you guys all back in here. Austin Miller as well. And yeah, let's go ahead and switch it right on over to our main scene here. I'm going to look at the date because I don't know if okay, I did change it. I actually wasn't too sure. Welcome, Pete, as well. Finally got NASCAR starting back up on Sunday. I'm excited for that. At least there's something I can look forward to, right? Because this severe weather threat thankfully doesn't look to be that significant. I do like to track severe weather, but I don't want it to be significant severe weather. It's definitely fun to track, though. You gotta admit, we're all weather nerds in here. You do like tracking severe weather, but hopefully this won't be the higher end setup that some models are actually showing. They're actually showing a decent environment. One of those is actually the NAM 3K here, which you're looking at right now, showing a couple of discrete supercells out here in northeastern Louisiana, west central Mississippi, into southeastern Arkansas. They're prefrontals. I shouldn't really call them discrete. We'll call them prefrontal semi-discrete cells that the NAM3K is showing out here. And it is definitely not the only model run showing that. The HRRR is actually probably the most aggressive model run that we have for tomorrow's event. It shows multiple instances of discrete to semi-discrete supercells. You can see these semi-discrete cells embedded inside the line here, about 3 or 4 main semi-discrete supercells, and then one quite large discrete supercell out there towards Monroe, Louisiana. So I actually do think we could see, hear me out here, bear with me, I do actually think we could see a 10 significant chance for tornadoes out here in northeastern Louisiana, southeastern Arkansas, into west central Mississippi. I'll go into more detail on why, but definitely saw some notable uptrends with our model runs overnight. And I also want to go over to, let me go over to the College of Do page really quick. I don't think we'll see any clearing, Caden, but even with no clearing, we should have a good enough amount of lapse rates, and just the fact that it's a low a low cape, high shear. Ben, you are not remembering, Ben. You got to think in 2024 how many low shear, high cape, or rather, high shear, low cape. There you go. High shear, low cape setups we had that absolutely popped off. We had countless amounts. One of which was the one up in Ohio that only had about like 800 to 1,000 instability in northeastern Indiana, northwestern Ohio. That spawned a lot of tornadoes. We also had the south central Michigan tornado emergency that had a pretty low wind cape environment. I was about to say the one in southwest Oklahoma, but that actually had 5,000 cape with it. The one that it was just one single discrete cell in southwest Oklahoma sometime in mid-May that produced a bunch of tornadoes. But yeah, let's go and dive on into some model data here. I know we just looked at the HRRR there on Radar Omega, but we need to do a more in-depth analysis here to show you exactly why I believe we could actually see a 10 sig tour for tomorrow's threat. Thank you, Sam, for the $5 donation. That is greatly appreciated. Tomorrow looks promising. It does for a pretty good tornado threat. I'm not going to lie. It looks like a decent low cape, high shear setup. It looks better than what it looked like yesterday. Yesterday, I was thinking this was going to be a terrible, clustery mess of thunderstorms, and that's really about it. But now it looks like even the NAM model still has a bit of a messy mode, but it still has a tornado threat at least present out there into Louisiana and Mississippi. But I first want to dive on into your lower level jet stream here on the NAM model run. And I want to show you one major factor here that's going to probably play for a bit more of a significant tornado threat. And that's your lower level jet stream. All day Thursday, which is tomorrow, we will have a very large area of widespread 50 to 70 knot lower level jet stream over much of the southern portions of the United States, including all of Arkansas and Tennessee, Mississippi. That will push more eastward, but it really doesn't matter after this region. So I do think here as we go towards about probably 6 p.m., which is right around this model run's time frame, we'll see a good amount of instability in this region, probably right around 800 instability or so. Maybe we could push up to 900, but I don't really think we'll get into that 1,000 mark. If we get into that 1,000 mark, we're going to see a strong tornado threat present. But we do have a lower level jet stream of at least minimum 50 knots out here. Some models, like maybe the GFS, shows it a bit stronger here. GFS still shows about 55 to 60 knot lower level jet stream there. Haven't looked at the NAM. NAM agrees. The HRRR, I think, was the most aggressive, which I can't show you that on this website, but it generally looks like most of our model ones show a widespread 55 to 65 knot lower level jet stream over our main tornado threat region here. And that is plenty for a strong tornado threat. Anything more than a 30 knot lower level jet is actually good enough for a tornado threat and even a strong tornado threat. So once you start getting up into the 50s and 60s, that's when you are looking at a more notable widespread tornado threat here. But thankfully, Sam just mentioned it, we are going to have a pretty messy storm mode that will allow for some limitations in our widespread tornado threat, but still portrayed here by the HRRR model one, you can clearly see the HRRR has multiple potential tornadic cells in this region here from southeastern Arkansas through a good chunk of Louisiana into southeastern Texas, with again that primary discrete to semi-discrete supercell out in front of your main QLCS line tomorrow evening. This is the 6 p.m., 7 p.m. time frame. And then as we go towards about 8 p.m. and 9 p.m., that congeals up into a line, still maintaining that QLCS tornado threat. And then finally, by the time you get towards 10, 11 p.m. Eastern, that's when your tornado threat is going to die down. Your wind threat will go up slightly. And then once you get towards midnight, 1 a.m., the entire line as a whole will fall apart rapidly. So definitely a primary threat is damaging winds here, but the tornado threat, in my opinion, is uptrended quite a bit. I can't show you on this site either, but we do have our model ones are now showing closer to maybe the NAM, actually. I didn't think about that. If we get the NAM model here, I don't know what this is going to show. I haven't looked at the NAM. But the HRRR had about 6.5, almost up to 7 lower level kilometer lapse rates there. 0 to 1 kilometer lapse rates. or surface. What is it? I forgot. I did not get enough sleep last night. I'll just say it right off the bat. So I apologize if I seem tired. I did not get enough sleep at all. So this actually doesn't show it as well. Let me go over to here. This doesn't portray it well whatsoever. This still has your 4.7 kilometer lapse rates. And the main reason for that, if we switch over to your reflectivity here, this is for the like 3 p.m. time frame. So you just don't really have all of that daytime heating if we do get any in place over Louisiana on this particular model run. I will sneak in another sounding, very nitpicked right there. Back it up more and sneak in another one like right in here, just to see if the NAM model run does portray those higher lapse rates. Let's see here. And it is, by the way, it is surface to 3 kilometer lapse rates, not 0 to 1 kilometer or whatever I said. Okay, this does show it a little bit better, 5.1 kilometer lapse rates here, but HRRR was saying like up to about 6.5, even some spots up to 7 here. But it doesn't seem like the NAM 3K really agrees on that too well. But regardless, still, look at right here. This is your lower level jet stream here. This shows a 43 knot wind shear lower level jet with your shear overall, your SRH, which is shear, at 482. That is a lot of wind shear. A lot of wind shear. And so you get a hodograph like this, a very large classic hodograph that is extremely, extremely favorable for strong tornadoes. But again, thankfully, we've got that limitation of both instability and lapse rates. This model run is doing a very poor job at showing you those uptrends. This model run is definitely more on the very weak and passive side. This one didn't uptrend much. But even with this lower end setup, we'd still have a tornado threat. It just wouldn't be a strong tornado threat with this model run. This model run is like, it's still it's still on the lower end side of things, but it's the NAM model. I really wouldn't be listening to it that much either way, but still going to look at it just to see if it agrees with anything. The HRRR is a model run that is very aggressive. We'll see how this looks tomorrow morning. But it could go either way. It could go either way. It could go absolutely either way, where we end up seeing more instability or less instability. The biggest factor is going to be instability. If we see like a large area of 500 to even close to 1,000 instability in our open warm sector, generally in this region here, that's going to promote that tornado threat to potentially even a local strong tornado threat. And that strong tornado threat, if anywhere, would definitely be in west central Mississippi into northeastern Louisiana, like right in this region here. Remember yesterday I was talking about either this area in here or closer to Shreveport. Now it looks like it is going to be, over Monroe, Louisiana, and potentially just barely west of Jackson, Mississippi, all the way down towards almost Alexandria, Louisiana. Whereas yesterday I told you there would be 2 different spots for, potential uptrends or strong, a more notable tornado threat. And one of those was, I'll circle it again. One of those was like right in here, and the other one was out in Monroe. So we will see. We'll see if this uptrend continues here in northeastern Louisiana. Again, the NAM 3K model run doesn't really show it as notable. Let me switch your scene. There you go. And the only reason for that is your instability. Your instability on the NAM 3K is like near 0. There you go. It's literally at like 10 to 20. If we go to any other model run, for instance, the GFS model run, that even shows 200. That's very low. Okay, there you go. That's better. There you go. So that's between like 200 to 500 instability on the GFS model run. Your NAM model, not the NAM 3K model run, is even better than the NAM 3K, showing a 353 instability. Your RAP model is one of the more aggressive ones at 590. HRRR should say about the same. HRRR is up to, yeah, there you go. Almost. HRRR is almost hitting 1,000 instability. And if we compare that to what it was showing yesterday here, Let me get, which one was it? I think it was this one. Yeah, this is the one we looked at yesterday, and this didn't go out far enough. But you could see it was still on the lower end on this one. So it is not the worst setup on the HRRR and the WRAP and even the NAM model run. The only model run that really doesn't have a good hold on it is probably the NAM 3K. I mean, that's even the NAM model run itself is disagreeing with the NAM 3K. So that's like the only model run I would disregard at this point. I'm still going to use it just to make comparisons like I've been doing already. But even the own NAM model run, like if I show you here, you can see, I want to show you. So this is the NAM model run, and you can see this has a widespread area of about 250 instability here in front of that QLCS line. And then the NAM 3K, it has a capped area of like 50 to 100 instability out here. So the NAM model itself is disagreeing with the NAM 3K. So I would not be using the NAM 3K right now. Like I said, you could still use it for comparison purposes, but it doesn't seem like it's going to be an accurate model run with this setup. Oh, wow, look at that. I didn't even notice that. The HRRR actually has supercell composite up to 5 in northeastern Louisiana. That is definitely the highest supercell composite we've seen with this setup. I don't believe anything got above 2 yesterday. And now we're up to 3, 4, and even 5 in some spots. So that already shows you it has uptrend. And now if we look at this morning's model run, you can see this morning it was at a 3. So even just comparing it from the model run about 6 to 8 hours ago, it's already begun uptrending. I'm trying to see exactly the difference here. It looks like it's all in instability. It's all in instability. That's where all your uptrends and downtrends are happening. Right now, the HRRR and the WRAP model agree the best. The NAM is on the lower side of instability, but still has a tornado threat out in Louisiana, but not a strong tornado threat. Right now, I don't even know if the WRAP really has it. I think it's really just primarily... No, the WRAP does have it. You see the WRAP has a very widespread area of 2 to 3 supercell composite, which is, that's going to be favorable enough for a potential strong tornado threat as long as we don't have a very, very terrible storm mode, which you really can't look at that with the WRAP model. There's the WRAP model. It's never been good with convection. Not once in my life have I seen the WRAP model get anywhere close to nailing convection. Like, ever. I've never seen it. So, if we do get a strong tornado threat, like I said, it's going to be a very low-end strong tornado threat. Like, it would be a very brief period where we could see a strong tornado threat, and it's going to happen like right around the 6 to 7 o'clock time frame, right as that lower level jet increases. So we'll have to have like the perfect timing here to actually see a strong tornado threat materialize out here in northeastern Louisiana. But the HRRR definitely does show that. This is about 7 o'clock here. And like I said, it does have a couple supercells that don't look that bad on the simulated reflectivity here in northeastern Louisiana and into Arkansas, west central Mississippi. So I wouldn't completely rule out a strong tornado tomorrow if, and this is a big if right here, if we can get more than 500 instability in that area I have circled. But if we're like sticking with a NAM solution where we only get, say, 250, does it show? Oh, well, that shows about 350, almost maybe as high as 400 out here in northeastern Louisiana. But we're going to need like 500 plus for us to have that more isolated strong tornado threat. That's the word I was really looking for. That isolated strong tornado threat. Can I take soundings with the WRAP? I actually haven't tried this. Okay, I can. I'm sure I did soundings with the WRAP model last year, but you could see the WRAP model here. Well, you can't see, but it's up to 5.1 kilometer lapse rates, which is better than the 4 that we had yesterday. Okay, let me pull one here. Let's see. Okay, this one's... Okay, there you go. This one's a lot better. This one is a lot better in terms of lapse rates. You can see that's up to 5.4. That is a big difference than the 4-kilometer lapse rates we had on our model runs yesterday for Thursday's threat. Still on the lower side of instability, 311. However, if we do... Okay, so this does decrease with time as well. But that is definitely an improvement. That is an improvement in our environment on the RAP model. Can I go to... What is it? Maybe this one? That's very... I'd be very much cherry picking that. Yeah, the only place I see that strong tornado threat being possible, like I said, is this general area in here. Generally that region. And it's all going to come down to instability. If we have like what the HRRR is showing with the 800 or so instability out here, then you know that strong tornado threat is going to be a possibility. Still low, but it would be a possibility. But if we do get to that time frame of 6 p.m. Eastern and it ends up with a NAM3K solution where you have like 50 instability, you know that tornado threat's going to be notably lower. I don't think they'll pull a 10 sig on this. Now that I look at all of your model runs, the HRRR does play a massive role, though, in the Storm Prediction Center's outlook. That is one of the, if not the primary model run they use to determine their outlooks. And, of course, they still use other model runs as well. But HRRR is just one that has notoriously been correct for a lot of severe weather events. So, personally, after looking at all these model runs, I do think a 10 sig tor would be a little bit over the top. Shoot, what was I going to look up? I forgot. Oh, well. I want to go check the CSU. That's what I was going to look up. Oops, that's day 3. We ain't on day 3. CSU has a 9.4% tornado risk. Not a 10%, a 9.4% tornado risk. And that is right where I have circled. That 9.4 risk is right here on the CSU. It also has an enhanced risk for wind. So definitely going to keep an eye on the HRRR model run, see what it shows tonight once again, see if it uptrends at all. But overall, I mean, the HRRR is looking 90 times better than what it was looking earlier today or last night. It's definitely a more organized, still messy, but also a mix of organized severe weather threat. Let me check here. Yeah, so the main thing the SPC talks about is the lack of lower level lapse rates and instability. Even with the lower level instability being low and the low level lapse rates also being low, they still mention a tornado or two would be possible. I mean, all it takes is a little bit of cloud cover, and we could see quite an overperforming event in terms of not seeing just a tornado or two. I do think if it goes enhanced, it would be for winds. I could see a 30% wind risk. Not 30 sig. You can see right here, once it once that QLCS line meets the greater instability over northeastern Louisiana, like the HRRR has, that would allow for a better wind threat. So, key takeaway on the tornado threat here, in my opinion, it is a low end tornado threat over much of Louisiana, southeastern Arkansas, into west central Mississippi, in extreme southeastern Texas, like literally more east than Houston. But we could still see an isolated strong tornado threat tomorrow, especially around the 6 p.m. Eastern time frame. That's 5 p.m. Central. If we can get that higher end instability threat there. It's likely so isolated, Ben, it wouldn't result in an upgrade in the risk. Thinking, from what the SPC has done and what they normally do, this is too much of an isolated risk for them to issue a 10% or a 10 sig. But they could still do it. I really would not be shocked if they do a 10% or a 10 sig. Let me look at cloud cover again. Yeah, HRRR has like just full cloud cover. That's it. Just complete cloud cover. We'll have to see what the 0Z model runs say because we don't want to base it off of just one singular batch of model runs here. But you can see here, even, I mean, if we look at all the HRRR models over the last 24 hours, they all have a large area of instability now into Louisiana, Mississippi, and southeastern Arkansas. Again, you're primarily looking at right here. You can see this is the current newest HRRR, 6 hours ago, 12 hours ago, 18 hours ago, and as far back as we can go, 24 hours ago. It has stayed very consistent. Look at the wrap model here. The wrap does have a bit more capping, but still, you could see it very easily over that same region. Still there. And I think this is the model run. Yep, still there. Still there. Oh, okay, it did load. I mean, the wrap model has stayed consistent as well throughout the entirety of its runs here. The only main difference is that it's been uptrending very slightly with each run. Now let's look at the NAM 3K. NAM 3K is just... Wow. It's just stuck with, like, no instability. Look at that. The NAM 3K goes all the way down to, like, 200 instability in southwestern Louisiana. That's not for the right time frame. So that's going to be the main thing I pay attention to by a milestone is instability. Like I said, if we're towards like we'll say like the 4 o'clock time frame, this is 4 p.m. here. If we're at 4 p.m. and we still don't have more than 500 instability across this entire area, then that means our strong tornado threat you just throw it out the window because it's not going to happen. But if we have like an HRRR solution where we have a very large area of 500 instability and maybe even a heightened area of up to 1,000 out here, then you know that strong tornado threat would be a little bit more likely. Not a strong tornado likely, but the overall tornado threat would be more likely there. It does not look terrible by any means in terms of a QLCS spin-up tornado threat and then maybe even an isolated strong tornado threat on the HRRR model. Much better than what it looked like yesterday. A lot better. Like 10 times better. And that's all thanks to your lapse rates, really. Especially on the HRRR. Oh, you know what I haven't checked? I haven't checked the... There's some more cam model runs that I can't show on stream, but I haven't checked them myself. to see if they agree with the HRRR. I'm gonna go check them really quick. I want to look at their instability, surface-based instability. Oh, okay, that's the first model run that I have seen that actually has 1,000 instability. That has 1,100 instability over northeastern Louisiana. Man, I wish I could pull a sounding over that. That is the first model run that I've actually seen that has over 1,000 instability in Louisiana. Let me go to the next cam model here. See if this has it too. Surface-based instability again. This one has 800, closer to what the HRRR shows. And then the last one that I haven't checked doesn't show it. Got it. I really only care about the instability, because that's going to be the main thing here. I can't pull a sounding on any of these. That's terrible. So it's all going to come down to instability. That's what it's all going to come down to. And it doesn't look like we have the best agreement on exactly where that instability will be placed. However, just keep in mind that a lot of these model runs actually underdo instability very frequently. Very, very frequently. We see it common. It's very common to see instability underplayed by a lot. I mean, we've seen 2,000, even up to 3,000 more than what some model runs have portrayed with severe weather events. But this is not spring. This is second season, so we probably won't see that big of an overperformance with instability. Let's see. We're not going to see a lot of instability over Louisiana until probably 1 p.m. So that's going to be when I start really watching model runs and the meso analysis just after lunch. I probably will just go live at 6 p.m. unless it is absolutely needed to go live at 4. But right now it looks like 6 p.m. to like 8 p.m. tomorrow will be live Eastern time. It's going to be like right around between like 4 to 6 these storms should really start going. According to the HRRR and the NAM. Which, like I said, the NAM 3K seems to be handling this horribly. Let me check here. Imagine getting caught by a Nightbot and then hidden by a mod. That's crazy. Nightbot actually doing its job for once is wild. Hello, Brooklyn. Caleb, are you still talking about your school? I just looked up, so I saw you say something about your test. Okay, there we go. I had to change my... Streamlabs has some weird chat that it only shows like top chat, and it doesn't show like half the messages that you guys send for some reason. So that might be why I missed Caleb's chat there. So we'll see what the SBC goes with tomorrow. Like I said, it could go either way here. I think the HRRR is going to be a more realistic scenario. Yeah, I think it will strengthen to your east, Tyler. Of course, you still want to keep an eye on it, but it looks like it should strengthen to your east. Or literally right on top of Shreveport and then move more to your east, of course. Hello, Legacy. Welcome to the stream. I'm going to change this over. There we go. Nothing much, Legacy. We've just been going over model runs, and then we just now had a troll come in the chat. And they got timed out twice by Nightbot. So wind shear is not going to be an issue. That's why I haven't really looked at this much. I'll just say it again, like I said in yesterday's stream. We're not going to have a single issue with wind shear. This whole area is going to be favorable for any tornadoes wind shear wise. Now, instability wise, most of the area will not have enough instability to support a strong or even a overall tornado threat. Let me go ahead and show you their outlook for tomorrow. You can see they actually have that 5% more to the southeast, or rather southwest than I thought. That's pretty far to the southwest. They have that 5% tornado risk starting out there in Houston, going into Lake Charles, Louisiana as well. Yeah, so this is 6 p.m. Eastern, and you could see the HRRR model run has 6 p.m. Eastern being your prime tornado threat. A lot of QLCS storms here. A lot of embedded supercells in your QLCS. And then you have 2, maybe 3 or so semi-discrete cells out in front of that. And then your primary threat starts to die off after about midnight. Still, you can see that very thin line of damaging winds continuing all the way into Friday through a good chunk of Alabama. They do have a marginal risk in place in southern Alabama and Florida, southwest Georgia as well. Although I don't think that will be anything really severe. We might get an isolated severe storm Friday, but anything widespread or notable like what tomorrow may be, I don't see it happening. If the 0Z model runs keep showing this, I could definitely see the SBC pulling the 10 sig trigger out here in northeastern Louisiana into maybe west central Mississippi, maybe southeastern Arkansas. But all it takes is for the HRRR to start downtrending on 0Z models, and then that's it. Your strong tornado threat's gone. Because that's the only model run that shows a notable enough tornado threat to where they may pull that trigger. Again, this is for 6 p.m. here. And your cold front is back here with those QLCS tornadoes. And the prefrontals would be up in this area. Specifically, like right in here. So, moving to the northeast. So, that's the main area that I see our tornado threat being in now. Once again, is like right in here. Both with QLCS tornadoes and also prefrontals. Even if we don't see a single prefrontal, we could still see the isolated spin up strong tornado. Nothing will be long track tomorrow. Lower level lapse rates are so bad, everything should be very brief. We could have a spin up strong tornado embedded in the QLCS, or a spin up strong tornado with a semi-discrete supercell, but we are not looking at any long-tracked tornadoes. Lower level lapse rates will not support that at all. When was the last time we had a 60 sig tour? Oh, geez. I remember a 60 sig probability outlook on the day 2 risk. We had a double high risk on the day 2 risk, but I forgot exactly when that was. But I can't remember a 60 sig tour. We had one in 2006, apparently. Yeah, we actually did. Wow. We had a 60 sig tour. 2006. Guess where it was? You'll never guess. Dixie Alley. Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee. And Tennessee somehow fit in there. How did that verify? Okay, now I'm very... Oh, wow. Listen to this wording. Major tornado outbreak is underway. Numerous violent tornadoes. Jeez. Okay, but I do want to see how that verified. What date was that? April 7th, 2006. Verification. 2006. What'd I say? April something. April... I gotta go look at the exact date. 7th. 91 tornado reports. Well, that's the last 60 sig I see. That's the only 60 sig I see. But maybe there was one sooner than that, or rather later. Oh yeah, this is the one I remember. When was this? Around April 14th, 2012. They had a 60% probability, or 60 sig probability day 2 risk. 2 of them. That's the one I remember. I'm not gonna lie, I had no idea they actually had a 60 sig tour on in 2006. I had zero clue. Okay, let me go ahead and change back to this. There we go. Alrighty, but again, we're looking at what you're looking at right now is the SPC outlook overlaid with the HRRR model run. The HRRR wants a pretty good tornado threat for tomorrow around the 6 to 8 p.m. time frame from generally west, northwestern Louisiana and southeastern Texas, all the way back up into west central Mississippi. That's where it has the majority of your tornado activity from the 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. time frame. Most of this would be damaging winds with a brief spin-up tornado risk, but like I said, specifically in this area right in here, if the HRRR model run is correct, I wouldn't completely rule out a very low-end strong tornado threat. A very low chance for a strong tornado threat, but it would be there. It would be present. It would be a present strong tornado threat. Which yesterday... I mean, I didn't see the chance for any strong tornadoes whatsoever for Thursday, which is tomorrow, and now I do. I do see a possible strong tornado threat there, and again, that's primarily thanks to your lower level jet. This is your HRRR's lower level jet, and you can see that's at about 60, 65 knots across that area I've been talking about. So there you go. Instability by a milestone weather tracker. Instability by a milestone. Even if we have like 5.5 or 6 kilometer lapse rates, we could still see a strong tornado. But if we end up with the less than 500 instability, that's what's going to demolish your strong tornado threat. So... Oh my goodness, I might need stronger glasses. Is that a tornado report in freaking New Mexico? Today? When did that happen? What? 4:10 p.m. I believe that is. 4:10 p.m. Video on social media showed a brief, weak land spout near 98th Street and I-40. That's crazy. That's got to be like our first tornado report in like 20-ish days. Wait, I'm going to go look. When was the last time we had a tornado report? That's the first one in so long. Oh, wait, there it was. January 5th. So we went 24 days. Yeah, 24 days without a tornado report. That was broken today in New Mexico. Not actually, well, I think the SPC had a general thunderstorm risk there. Yeah, they did. It was somewhere like right around here along I-40. They actually did have a general thunderstorm risk there, so it wasn't completely outside of a severe risk. Today's threat, we do have a risk for tornadoes, damaging winds, and some small hail today. That is a very much overnight threat. Storms most likely won't get going until around midnight tonight. And they will consist of primarily a small hail threat, damaging winds, and we can't fully rule out a brief spin-up tornado, specifically on the southern side of this risk, maybe even a little bit more north than what the SPC has here. But generally on the southern side of our risk area, we'll have the opportunity for a spin-up tornado overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. And I really wouldn't be surprised if we actually did see a tornado sometime between now and, say, like noon tomorrow in this region. Just simply because we're going to have a lot of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico here consistently feeding up into where that trough ejection will be, aka where there's wind shear. So you can see the HRRR has these little storms here at 1 a.m. and then those continue 4 a.m. There's more little storms that pop up here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 a.m. You get more down here, more to the south. 11 a.m. You can see those continue. And those tiny little storms could actually produce a very weak spin-up tornado. Now, this won't have any chance for strong tornadoes because it's going to be overnight, primarily overnight, which means it's going to have considerably less instability. And it just will be significantly more messy, too. You can see all the rain showers here. So a lot more messy and a lot less instability. Whereas tomorrow, we'll still have a somewhat messy mode, especially as we get towards 9 p.m. But you can still see, I mean, you can see you have a line here and then prefrontals in front. So it's still an okay setup, right? It's not just that big blob of rain all over the risk. So like I said, I do believe we have that lower end strong tornado threat for tomorrow in this area here, right around, like, what did I say, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. This is exactly 7 p.m. This exact frame is 7 p.m. according to the HRRR. But you got to have room for error with these model runs, which is why I said 6 to 8. I'm going to go check the GFS model run. Actually, we'll check it together. I'll pull it up right here. Oh, give me just a second. I'm going to close out all these tabs before my computer explodes. This too. Yep, had 3 soundings pulled up. And I've got 3 college due pages pulled up right there. Much better. Okay, now we can look at the GFS model run. I'll switch you guys on over here. I want to see what the GFS says. Yeah, even the GFS has more instability than the NAM3K. So, from what I could tell, it's like, I think the NAM3K is really the only major outlier here. Canadian? Oh, yeah, there's your Canadian, and even that has 400, 500 instability. So your NAM3K is the only model run that has like 200 or less. Let's go back over here. Yeah, see, your NAM3K has the tiniest little pocket of 200, almost 300 instability. Whereas all your other model runs are more widespread with it. Ben, I do. At the beginning of every live stream, I organize it, but that all goes out the window once I start the stream. It all goes out the window. Did our trough, like, change at all? I don't think it changed much compared to yesterday. Still looks like the same. Still, well, yeah. Still completely positively tilted with the embedded short waves over Louisiana. No, this is very clearly pointed to the southwest, Ben. I didn't draw that correctly. Here you go. That is very clearly a positive tilt trough. That's really not neutral. You think I would, Caleb, but no, I don't. But after this trough gets out of here, we'll see that high ridge build in like we've been talking about for 3, 4, I think it's actually been about 4 or 5 days now. We'll see that ridge build in somewhere out here near the Caribbean. And that should keep things relatively on the inactive side for an extended period of time. We'll still have the occasional rain pull through between, let me go all the way back, between January 31st when this system exits, and you can see here between the 31st and the 5th of February, we really don't see much. We get a little clipper system up here in the New England states, and then maybe a little snow system here in the northern Great Plains, and then some rain out there in the central U.S., but nothing really that notable until the 5th or 6th of February. GFS still has the potential for an ice storm and or snowstorm across the Midwestern states, and I don't think it really has much of a severe threat with that anymore. Yeah, really no severe threat with that on the 5th and 6th of February. And then eventually the GFS does spark up a little severe threat on the 9th of February, but man, overall a very lacklustering model run. Your trough has trended very much more zonal. Very much more zonal flow trough here, not our large digging mega trough. Yikes. And even this one, you could see a very sloppy, elongated, positively tilted trough. That would definitely result in more of a very sloppy, maybe severe threat. I don't even know if that would promote a severe threat, honestly. It's so messy, I don't even think that would be severe. You'd be looking at just sloppy rain and a very disorganized snow threat. It wouldn't even bring a good snowstorm either, because it's so elongated. You can see here, there's no snow along the elongated positive tilt trough there. Positive tilt trough has like no snow along it at all. So even that wouldn't even promote a good snowstorm. The only time that you get snow here is once you finally get a digging trough. You can see a little bit of a digging trough here on February 11th. That's very far away. And then you finally get some snow, but even that is very underwhelming. So it looks like we're going to have a very underwhelming pattern. That's all thanks to our high pressure. Still going to be worth talking about, but let me go check CFS again. We haven't looked at that today. I haven't looked at it at all. We're going to look at this together, and then we are going to wrap up. Still a very large signal here. Definitely quite a higher end signal on the 6th and 7th of February on your GFS ensemble. So it's still worth watching. That is just, that particular run of the GFS model run is just very, very meh. Even the one after that, let's see. This is the newest one, 18Z. Even the 18Z is a bit better. Jeez. 150 knot jet stream right there over the sum of Michigan on February 9th on this particular run. So I do think we'll still have the chance for severe weather going towards around the 7th of February, but it's just we're going to need to monitor it. It's nothing to be worried about still because it's so far out. It could uptrend or it could completely disappear like it's been trying to do for the last 24 hours here. But all right. My evening's okay, Haley. Better now that I live streamed. I love to stream and talk about the weather. So hopefully you guys found this live stream informative. We'll go ahead and conclude just one more time. I'm going to go ahead and talk about this tornado threat. Again, if we get more instability in this area, that's going to result in a better tornado threat. The highest end tornado threat will probably be focused over this area here. And I wouldn't fully rule out a brief, strong tornado tomorrow between the 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. time frame. But that is going to be it. Thank you, mods, for mod chat. Thank you, everybody, for being here and tuning into another live stream. We will most likely be live probably just after 5 p.m. Or on the nose at the dot of 6 p.m. Eastern. So we'll say between 5 and 6 p.m. we'll be live, because I really don't want to be live later than 6 p.m. unless that threat really has like completely downtrended or something. But that's going to be it. Hopefully you guys enjoy the stream. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's live stream. Have a great rest of your Wednesday night, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you, mods, for modding chat, and everybody for being here once again. And that's going to be it. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe, watch severe weather, and the snowfall or whatever snow we may get. Goodbye. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's live stream between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern. Have a great rest of your night. Goodbye.